AM 560, KWTO, Springfield, and listen online at newstalk560.com. CBS News, I'm Steve Kathan. The buyers are back on Wall Street, fueled by a better-than-expected jobs report. The Dow is up 219, but trader Alan Valdez says the good feeling might not last long.
The market now trades on news. The news of the day, the news of the hour, the news of the minute sometimes. So this isn't sustainable. We could get Monday morning, the euros falling apart and the dollar's flying, and that'll kill the market.
The government says 163,000 jobs were created last month. That beats most expectations. Economist Gus Fauché.
We saw strong growth in manufacturing employment, which was weaker in June. We saw gains in retail trade, which had declined in June.
It was the best hiring number in 6 months, but still the jobless rate ticked up to 8.3%. Mitt Romney says that's a hammer blow to middle-class families, and Americans deserve better. The White House says there is evidence the economy is recovering.
This is Pam Coulter. The jobless rate doesn't tell the whole story because it doesn't count discouraged workers like Michelle Lang-Lois, who've given up the hunt.
I have depression issues, and not being able to find a job did not help with that because I was about to be homeless on the street.
Rutgers public policy professor Carl Van Horn.
Discouraged workers is a very strong, tangible symbol of people saying, hey, the economy's not good enough. I'm trying to find a job, but I can't find one.
He says more than 2 million people have stopped looking for work.
Overseas, a Palestinian camp was caught in the Damascus crossfire between government forces and rebels. 21 people were killed. CBS's Charlie D'Agata is with rebels, and he spoke with a fighter who had been in the city of Aleppo.
He said even by the standards that they've been seeing over the past few days, he's seen an intensity in the bombardment, and he himself couldn't believe the ferociousness that it was just unrelenting.
The investigators say the megabus that crashed yesterday in Illinois was made last year and had passed a maintenance check just last week. A blown tire appears to have caused the bus to veer into a highway pillar. One person was killed. The bus driver among those injured is expected to recover. Baseball Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. says they're still trying to put the pieces together in his mom's kidnapping last week.
Mom is doing pretty good. It's a traumatic situation that she was involved in, traumatic for all of us in the family.
The 74-year-old Violet Ripken says she was taken at gunpoint, blindfolded, and driven around. She was found the following day. Ripken says his mother, worried about safety, has yet to go back to her home. Police have released a sketch of the suspect. All systems are go for NASA's plan to land Curiosity rover on Mars Sunday night. Project scientist John Grotzinger says the crater it will explore could tell us a lot about Mars and Earth.
3 to 4 billion years ago, the planet may have been more like Earth had been.
He says the riskiest part of the mission is getting the rover down from its spacecraft to the surface of the planet. The Dow's up 215. This is CBS News.
I like saving money. I mean, it's not like I have a purse stuffed with coupons or... Okay, I do. The other day, I went into Wells Fargo to get help with a car loan.
Good news. You qualify for our double discount promotion. Get double the interest rate discount we normally give on select new loans and lines of credit just for being a Wells Fargo checking package customer.
And the best part, I didn't even need a coupon.
Come to Wells Fargo to discuss how the double discount promotion can help with the interest rate on your new loan or line of credit. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Subject to credit qualification. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. Equal housing lender.
Everyone I know saves on the best stuff at Sam's Club. Great gear for back to class, amazing fruits and veggies, the coolest electronics, new tires.
August 3rd through 5th, be our guest and try Sam's Club free with no membership fee required. Shop in the club or online and save on family favorites like HP notebooks, brand name apparel, and perfectly picked fresh produce.
It's good to be in the club.
See why it's better in the club with no membership fee required. Join us this tax-free weekend in Missouri and save even more on eligible items in club. See samsclub.com for details.
A new study looks into some of the possible reasons for poor vision. Here's CBS's Larry Miller.
Children who stay indoors when they are 8 and 9 are twice as likely to need glasses for being short-sighted when they are 15 than those who played regularly outdoors. A Bristol University study of 14,000 youngsters is the first research to establish a direct link between poor eyesight and not spending enough time outside. Researchers aren't sure why, but one scientist says regular exposure to bright light is necessary to develop and maintain good vision. Larry Miller, CBS News, London.
They couldn't believe their eyes in Newport, Vermont. Someone drove a tractor over 7 police vehicles, crushing them. And police inside the adjacent building heard nothing because of loud air conditioning. But they have arrested a 34-year-old man who allegedly did it to protest an earlier arrest. Steve Kafen, CBS News.
Your first word probably wasn't something like finance, or savings, or ATM. But whatever that first word was, it opened up a world to you that was built on conversations. It's this exchange of ideas that Wells Fargo puts into practice every day, through listening, guiding, and planning. So when the conversation is about ways to grow your savings or your business, we'll be here to help you find the right answers. Because an open dialogue is what opens doors. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A.
If you depend on prescription opioid painkillers or heroin to get through each day, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Withdrawal and rehab seem like scary and difficult roads, but there is a different way. I know because I was just like you and I found it at turntohelpnow.com. At turntohelpnow.com, I learned about different ways to get help, including those in a private setting without the need for daily visits. Find your courage and go to turntohelpnow.com today.
Sunshine and patchy clouds and hot again today. We will see a few showers and a thunderstorm, the high 101. Cloudy for tonight with a thunderstorm in spots, low 75. Sunny and warm as we start the weekend tomorrow. We will see a shower or thunderstorm in spots, high 96. A shower or thunderstorm again early on Sunday, otherwise times of clouds and sun. Sunday's high 93. Sunny on Monday, high of 90. I'm AccuWeather's Jason Lord.
85 degrees in Springfield.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter, and he shook his head and said, you need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions.
It's Friday morning time for Home Repairs and Solutions with Mark and Mary. And Mark still isn't here, but Mary Pearson is. Brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioning and your local Amana dealer. Now here's Mary Pearson, your host for today, and her guests. Mary, good morning. And you said maybe Mark might be here next week.
That's what he told me. I got an email from him, and his last day of rehab was last Friday. He already had a commitment for today that he had for several months ago, and he did tell me that he would be back on with me starting the 10th. So I'm real excited about that and looking forward to having him back on the show.
Oh, you bet. He's been gone for quite a while.
He's been gone since the 1st of April. That's a long time.
Mary Pearson, you're here today, as you always are.
I am. And I'm always happy to be here on a Friday morning to do the show today. We have a great show today, folks. I really think that you're going to enjoy the information we're going to bring to you today. We're doing something a little different, a little out of the norm. But today I've asked Russel Gehrke to be my guest on the show today. Russel is, I describe him as a kind of a Einstein. He's an inventor, and he comes up with some really great ideas. And we have something going on here locally that I'll bet a lot of folks aren't aware of. And so I want Russel to talk to us about what's going on. Welcome to the show, Russel. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having us, Mary.
You betcha. Most of you probably remember the tornado that hit Joplin. It's been a little over a year ago, I believe,
yep.
And pretty much devastated that city. And here in Springfield, I felt like we were really fortunate. We dodged that bullet. That could have been us just as easy as it was them. And Russel lived in Joplin for a while. Is that correct?
My wife's from there.
Or his wife's from there. I knew you had a connection there somewhere.
Yeah.
They don't live there now, but they had a connection there. And so what happened after the tornado? What did you guys do? And tell us how all this got started.
Well, we were up there helping and volunteering, cleaning up just days after. And I do a lot of engineering. I write from McGraw-Hill. I write engineering books and things like that. So I've kind of made it my job to observe things, not just pay attention to my perceptions. And so as I was observing, I noticed that the playgrounds of Joplin had survived. So I started documenting all those surviving playgrounds, and the common factor there was the polyethylene plastic they used to build these playgrounds with. Right on range line, the Burger King was flattened, but the playground was still standing. So we documented that, and that started this road of developing inexpensive tornado shelters using that composite technology and FEMA guidelines to make it so.
And see, I would venture to say that most people, when they were up there, didn't even notice that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people were like, oh, that playground's standing there at Burger King, but that's what they noticed. They thought that was weird, but what really was happening there was some wonderful engineering things.
Absolutely. And so once that you started noticing that and documenting these things, then you came up with this idea that perhaps you could take some of that engineering, some of that material, and you could create a better storm shelter.
Correct. And better, we wanted to focus on affordability. We wanted to make a shelter that people could afford, especially after what happened in Joplin, because every kid there now knows somebody that died, and they need that peace of mind to get back to their routine. And so what we did is that polyethylene and polypropylene plastics that are often thrown away by many industries locally, and even us as homeowners recycle our milk jugs. A lot of us do, not all of us. We take the material and we can recycle it and keep that product local. So if there's an industry that's maybe recycling it now at a loss, they can take it and donate it to one of our foundations that help us, and then they get a receipt for their donation. So that 500,000 pounds that we found locally that was just being thrown away or recycled at a loss can now be turned into a tax liability tool for the local economy. And right now that polyethylene's about 48, almost 50 cents a pound. So that's $250,000 of tax tools that goes back into Southwest Missouri because of this project.
And see, that's something that I don't think a lot of people, maybe they don't realize, is when a company has a product that they have to get rid of, that is a waste product for what they're manufacturing. So that is oftentimes a cost to that company to get rid of that, to recycle that. They're not making money on that. Like you would think, if you take scrap to the scrap place and you get money for that. A lot of these companies, that's at an expense for them to get rid of that waste product.
Right. Oftentimes there's an expense tied to it, or you and I as taxpayers are subsidizing the recycling because it's the, I'm doing the quotation thing, the right thing to do.
Right.
So what we wanted to do is, recycling works very well when everything's kept local, because the energy to recycle goes back to the economy, the funds go on and on. So what we've done is we take these plastics and we make what we call ballistic concrete forms. And we follow the FEMA guidelines and all the concrete, but with our ballistic concrete form, we have 2-inch layer of this plastic that is bulletproof. And we have 14,000 pounds of concrete within that, and put a FEMA-approved door on it, and voila, we got a tornado shelter that's very inexpensive. And we even started our own specs for what we call EF Joplin. The tornado in Joplin lasted for over 3 minutes on the ground, in some places up to 6.
And that's a very long time.
Oh, yes. And the EF specs, like EF1, EF2, EF3, EF4, EF5, are all based on wind speeds. Nothing there was for duration or residence time. So what we did is our shelter was engineered for those time spans, and we call it EF specs, and it's the only thing out there. And ironically, we're more affordable, so we're better. We're engineered for the worst of the worst, and we're developing our own specs. It's really it's been an interesting venture the past year.
I'm sure it has. Well, that's what happens when the private sector is allowed to create and develop new ideas. It usually works out that way, that it can be more affordable, and it's a better product. I'm going to have to interrupt here. We do have a caller on the line already this morning. We have Gloria here in Springfield. Good morning, Gloria.
Hi, Mary.
Hi.
I've been listening to you briefly because I've been busy with Nathan. But anyway, he came out and he's going to come back later this afternoon. I'll be gone. And everything he's got to do is outside. And I offered to give him a key. I don't give many people to a key to my house. But I trust you.
Well, thank you, Gloria.
Anyway, he's going to put in new furnace and air conditioning, or whoever does that for you, next Thursday. And I want to thank you. I wouldn't have known about you if you wouldn't have been on KWTO.
Well, thank you, Gloria.
I want to thank you for the promptness, because I had a special day planned with my family today. And I'm 73 years old, and it took a lot of worry off my mind.
Well, I'm glad we could help you out, and I know I visited with you earlier today at the office.
Yes.
And I'm glad we were able to accommodate your time schedule for you today, and I know you're getting ready to leave shortly, and I hope you have a wonderful time and a safe trip.
Thank you. I think this is a lucky day, actually. Maybe lucky. But anyway, and I really, truly enjoyed Nathan.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your good words for us.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Gloria. Okay, that was nice. Gloria had an issue. She's a single lady, and she lives here by herself. She's an older woman, and she had an issue with her heating and air conditioning. She has to leave at 11 o'clock today to be out of town, and she had no air conditioning, so we were able to accommodate her time frame for her, and she told me that she might need a new system. I think it's 27 years old, so that was nice for her to call in and give Spring Mountain Air some kudos there. So, but I want to get back to what we're talking about here. This project that you started, like you said, you've been working on it for a year. Mm-hmm. And when you initially come up with this project, you had to do the engineering of it, and then you had to didn't you have to get approval from FEMA, or how does that work?
Well, FEMA doesn't approve any shelter. They have guidelines.
Okay.
There are no shelter or safe room police. It's up to the individual communities to decide what is prudent and what isn't prudent.
Okay.
So what we did is we looked at the FEMA guidelines, FEMA specs, and we just added to that. So the FEMA specs might be 4 inches of concrete with the rebar on 10-inch spans or 12-inch spans.
Okay.
We're 10 inches of thick of concrete, and our rebar is down to 10 inches across. So what we did is we just looked at the wind speeds and the duration, the residence time, and we beefed everything up for what happened in Joplin.
Because Joplin was an EF5, is that correct?
It was an EF5,
okay,
but it lasted over 3 minutes.
Yes,
so
okay.
It's kind of unique, and it's a very rare tornado. The risk of you being killed in a tornado, the odds are like 1 in 4 million. So it's not.
Wow.
But tell that to somebody in Joplin.
Sure.
So
sure.
That's the thing. And then the other key focus was affordability. How do we get these shelters affordable? And being able to take plastic donations helps us get to that point. And then because we're focused on philanthropy, we're able to get businesses to step in and help with concrete and help with rebar. And volunteers from all over the world come and help us install these shelters. So it's quite a neat project.
It is a very cool project. We're going to we have another caller. We have Gayla from Stone County. Good morning.
Well, good morning. I want to tell you, I really like this show because it gives you information you're not going to find anywhere else. And I think this product that he has come up with sounds like more people can afford it. And I think it's a great thing. And I appreciate you bringing these people on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your call.
And I got to tell you that last Sunday I had a slight problem with my heat pump.
Yes, ma'am.
I called, and within 1 hour, Nathan was here on a Sunday and fixed it.
He's pretty good. He's pretty
He
good.
is a darling.
Well, thank you so much.
But I do appreciate your show. I have learned different places where I can go and look at different projects, and I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you calling, Gayla. Thank you so much for being a listener.
Well, you're more than welcome. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. That's why I wanted to bring you on, because we have great listeners. They love to get new information, and this is something that I know that you've been dealing with almost from the beginning when you started working on this project. And I wanted to give you a little bit of time. I was thinking then I wanted to have you come on the show, but I thought it might be a little bit too early. You were in the planning stages. But now that it's up and running, I think it's something that maybe a lot of people aren't aware of. I mean, Joplin's not that far down the road.
No, it's close, and this thing can happen. You know, tornado can happen anywhere, anytime, really. So the importance of affordable shelters. When you think about it, 21 million people don't have shelter in the United States. If that were terrorists or an enemy of some sort making millions of families hide in bathtubs and closets once, twice, sometimes 3 times a year, we'd be at war. So because it's Mother Nature, we kind of ignore it. But the fact is, people need shelters. They need a place to go, get choked up. But for another mother to tell their kid it's going to be okay, and then for it to not be, it's inexcusable.
Sure. And I really think that the way you put this together is incredible for me, Russell, because this takes, I know that you spent many, many hours, that you spend personal money, you spend lots of time, you make many trips to Joplin, and that you have actually put together, now you're going to be a 501.
No, not us. What we did is we wanted to put a business model together that would allow our side of the operation to zig and zag. This is America, and if I want to donate a shelter to somebody, I'm going to do it. I don't want to be accountable to anybody else or whatever, but we partner with 501c3s that handle the donations for us.
Right.
And take the products in and let the products go out for us. What we've done is I call it capitalized philanthropy, to where I can use all the tools of the free market, but we're focused on philanthropy and helping people. So a new business model was kind of formed out of this just to do that. So the year's been crazy with new ideas and engineering and even getting these things manufactured. It's been a full-time job, and I've driven to Joplin and back over 300 times so far.
Yeah, I know that you spend a lot of time going up and down I-44, that's for sure. But on top of all of this, then you have the aspect of where a lot of your people who are actually putting these together and putting these on the ground are volunteers. Is that correct?
That's correct. The volunteers have been key to this happening, and they're hungry to help us, because when you get involved with our project, you see the joy on the family's faces receiving the shelter immediately. It's very rewarding. It's not like going to Joplin and picking up rocks and twigs and whatever else.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a project they want to help on because it's something they can see right off the bat, making a difference.
Well, one of your volunteers that has been helping you out is Eric. He's with us here in the studio today. And Eric, you are an engineering student, correct?
Yes.
And so you've been studying. Now, how did you get involved with this project?
Well, I'll introduce myself a little better. I'm Eric Talbert. I'm a student at Rice University in Houston, Texas. And I came up on a spring break trip, met Russell, got interested in his project, and now I'm the intern over the summer. And I think it's pretty cool that people get to come back. And I mean, there are a lot of volunteers that come through Joplin, and I was living with volunteers for a while, and what I see is people get connected to the project. Now I've probably 15 or 20 people that I met over 6 weeks emailing me, asking me about how our project is doing, and trying to carry it all over the Midwest and South, and it's pretty cool.
It's really something that is a passion. The way I understand it, for people who've been with you on this project and have been volunteering their time and their efforts and their energy. And what people need to know is these shelters are being built by hand. Correct?
That's correct.
Not machines and equipment. It's not something that's being prefabricated somewhere and then moved onto the spot. They're being built by these volunteers on the spot, correct?
That's correct. We put the blocks up, the concrete forms basically, and then we fill them with concrete. And the nice thing is, it's when we help a family, then they show up to help the next family, and then they show up to help the next family. So we're getting to a point now to where I won't have to have my feet on the ground.
Sure.
The project's getting a new life, which I'm looking very forward to. But yeah, it's quite a snowball effect. But it's been a lot of hard work, and like they say, no good deed goes unpunished. There are many days I wake up like, time to make the donuts,
Sure, oh sure.
Joplin again.
Oh sure.
But the volunteers and the joy, it makes it worth it. I don't make a dime off of it yet, but the commercial sales, I turn down sales every day. And there's a huge potential for us to make a lot of money off of making walk-in coolers for businesses, barns. There's all these side projects are coming off of this, and what we're hoping to happen soon is to get our production up on the blocks so we can start taking on these commercial accounts, and that's where I can make my living from this. But I've already pledged net profits back into our donation program because we want that thing to just explode and thrive.
Now, explain how the donation program works, because not everybody that gets a shelter has to pay for it. Is that correct?
That's correct. Now, some people will help pay for the materials, and that helps us a lot because that keeps my resources free. But one family we gave a shelter to, we just recently put a playground on it for the little girl. She was 5 when the tornado happened, but so we took her shelter and made it her place, her spot, and it's been a powerful tool for her recovery and getting beyond the tear. But and you can see her playground on our Facebook page. EF Joplin is one word, EF and then Joplin, one word on Facebook, and you can visit our page and see her shelter. But yeah, the volunteers are key in that, and the donation side of it, we can't take donations. We don't want to take donations, but if people want to donate to one of our foundations, they can, but we don't even have them on our website. If they can contact us personally if they want to, but as of today, we still haven't had one donation. It's been all my personal funds, and we've had some grants come that have helped us. So
you had to write some grants to get this started, to get some initial funding,
Yes,
correct? And you did that as well. You did your own grant writing and that type of thing. I'm telling you, this guy's amazing. I just love visiting with him. He's got so much information and so much knowledge, and he's so smart at coming up with new ideas that I think are just incredible. You don't really hear a lot of new inventions coming on the market so much anymore, and so this, I think, is just an amazing idea, and the fact that you've put so much of your self into it to help people like that, I see that the potential for this is just enormous. It can, I mean, you're starting in Joplin. We're starting right, which is another cool thing. You know, we talk about, on this show, we like to talk about living local, giving back to your local community, doing business with the people, you know, the mom and pop shops in the community, and helping out your friends and neighbors who are trying to keep their jobs here. And the fact that this is all started here in little Southwest Missouri, I think, is just incredible, because the potential is, you know, worldwide, I guess.
Yeah, we can copy this all over Tornado Alley for sure. And the neat thing about it is these plastics, by turning it into tax tools for the industries that have these waste materials, instead of them paying taxes in and then dishing back out and grants and all that for shelters or whatever, we can turn their that potential asset into something for their tax liability tools, and we kept their money local. So now that $250,000 tax tool went back in the local economy, and it helped local families with shelters. So and again, this is just the start, and that's probably the most exciting thing beyond the technology and all that, is how the project can fund itself and help bolster the local economy.
Now, and right now you're just concentrating mostly just in the Joplin area right now.
Yeah, we've got 6,000 kids that were directly in, you know, they know somebody that died there that don't have shelters. So there's a great need there, and some of them are what I call high risk, where when it's cloudy at all, they aren't sleeping. They don't have the tools adults do to rationalize every little event or clap of thunder now. Those are the people we're going after first to help. Some families have already bought shelters, which is great. That's better than a closet, hallway, or bathtub. But EF Joplin is really engineered for them, just for them.
And so how this works, and I might not have this exactly correct, but so for every shelter that someone purchases, a shelter gets donated. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's kind of like the Tom's shoe guy.
Okay,
People buy a pair of shoes, another, and that's kind of what we're trying to mimic off of. So far, I still haven't sold a shelter.
Yeah, this is definitely in the works, because right now we have our 4 shelters on the ground, and I mean we were accepting money for materials, but since, I mean, we don't really call them prototypes. I guess they're working models. So those are our first 4 shelters. A little bit of an experiment, but we knew they were going to work. So,
and one of those shelters is at the Chamber of Commerce.
I was going to bring that up.
And it's a huge shelter. Yeah, it doesn't sound, when we say 4 shelters, not real impressive, but just that one shelter at the Chamber of Commerce has enough materials probably to build 6 more. But we had to have that flagship. Part of our business model, or capitalized philanthropy, is using the charities and all that are around us and the people we help as our lead generation and sales generation.
Sure. So. And how many, like the one that you have at the Joplin Chamber, how many people can that hold?
We call it a 16-person shelter, according to FEMA specs, but if there's a tornado coming, I can get 100 people in there pretty easy.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Another thing that I thought was interesting is, how did you actually test these shelters? You had, you know, maybe we're about to go for a break, aren't we? We better hold up and come back. We'll come back with that one, because that's going to take a little longer, I think, than a minute and a half.
Okay.
We'll revisit that when we come back from the break. But now I lost my train of thought, because I was going there. Yeah, with the testing. But
well, the first phase of testing we did in the lab with just regular, like you would test concrete with presses and all that. And then we follow the FEMA guidelines, because the guidelines have already been approved, and then we add to that. So that was our first round, but our impact testing, that is a good story.
and you did this. Where did you do this actual testing at? Was it
the lab?
Was it in your garage? Where did you?
The lab testing we have going on right now is done by Anderson Engineering in Joplin, Missouri.
Okay.
And they're pressing our polymers, and they test our concretes and things like that. But our impact test, is a whole different beast, and we're just now tooling up for that. It's powered by Harley Davidson.
I heard that. That's why I wish Mark was here. Mark likes Harleys, and he would absolutely love this story. Right. So maybe he's listening today. I don't know, but I kind of knew a little bit about how you were testing all this stuff, and I think it's really interesting how you come up with how to test this. And how did you come up with putting this bulletproof exterior on this concrete? Because aren't most shelters just concrete?
Concrete or steel. What we wanted to do was to have a layer of material that could take on kinetic energy for a long duration. Not just, right now shelters are tested for 3-second wind events.
Yes, so I saw that.
You might have 3 impacts on a crucial zone in the impact test. Well, we wanted to be able to take 3 minutes of that, or 20 or 60 impacts on a surface area. And one of the ways to do that is we need to take that kinetic energy from the object when it hits us and spread it out over the concrete, because if you take a hammer and you hit concrete over and over, it chips and begins to fail.
Sure.
So this polymer takes that energy and spreads it out and keeps the integrity of the concrete completely intact.
Are we ready for a break? I thought so. We're going to take a quick break here, folks. Please come back. We have some more great information about this project for you on the second half of the show.
This is the Wall Street Journal Report. I'm Jennifer Kishinko. Stocks are rallying as July payrolls increased by a much better than expected 163,000. The Dow Industrial's up 209 at 13,088. The Nasdaq's up 56. The S&P 500 up 24. The pace of growth in the vast services sector edged up in July as new orders gained traction. The Institute for Supply Management's Anthony Nieves says the group's services index, which covers everything from restaurants to real estate, rose slightly and was better than expected.
We've seen a little bit of an uptick month over month. We could go, slow and steady, sideways here and there, but I think overall it's still going to continue on this path of slow incremental growth, hinged upon what happens with the employment picture.
The largest U.S. credit card lender may be in a bit of hot water. American Express says the government's consumer finance watchdog may take action against both of its U.S. banking units. 2 other agencies are also reviewing the company's practices for potential violations of consumer protection laws. This is the Wall Street Journal Report.
Quietus contains homeopathic ingredients traditionally used to provide relief.
Can you hear that sound? That ringing, that hissing.
I can't get to sleep with it.
I can't concentrate. I hear it constantly. Everywhere I go. It doesn't go away. It drives me nuts.
It's tinnitus.
A constant ringing in your ear caused by loud machines.
Loud music.
Ah, finally. Quietus.
I love Quietus.
I couldn't believe it. No more ringing in the ears. No more hissing sound. Quiet relief so I can work.
No more ringing. No more loud fans.
And I sleep like a baby.
If you're suffering from tinnitus, I urge you to try Quietus.
After trying Quietus, the ringing stopped, and I felt like I got my life back.
Quietus is real, my friend.
Quietus has changed my life.
Call right now for your risk-free trial of Quietus at 1-800-281-8943. That's 1-800-281-8943. Stop the ringing now. 1-800-281-8943. That's 1-800-281-8943.
Good morning. It's time for a look at news from the Ozarks News Network. Springfield police now say that the death of a couple in the 1700 block of South Fremont was a case of murder-suicide. An autopsy showed that 51-year-old Doris Nichols was shot 3 times. 41-year-old Jason Nichols reportedly died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Police found the bodies in the couple's home when friends and family members voiced concerns about their well-being after they hadn't been seen for several days. Springfield police this morning are looking for a gunman who walked up to a car at a convenience store at National and Division and shot the man inside. The victim was shot in the arm. The suspect was still at large after fleeing in a car that was later found at Prospect and Calhoun. The number of heat-related illnesses in Springfield and Greene County now stands at 178 since June 1st. 43 resulted in admission to the hospital. Statewide, the number is over 1,000, resulting in 28 fatalities. That's news from the Ozarks News Network.
Time to play ball in Hammons Field with the Springfield Cardinals in their 8th season. As you would expect, we'll bring you Friday night fireworks, dollar brat nights, and new this year, dollar hot dog nights, and much more. The future of Cardinals baseball is right here, right now. Visit SpringfieldCardinals.com or call 417-863-2143 and get your tickets today. Escape to Cardinals baseball.
The Price Cutter Charity Championship, presented by Dr. Pepper, is proud to announce Pink on the Greens, sponsored by J. Mark Business Solutions in conjunction with Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks Children's Fund. Join us at Highland Springs on Championship Sunday, August 12th. All breast cancer survivors and those still battling the disease will be admitted for free. Everyone is encouraged to wear pink to show support and raise awareness. Come watch future greats play so local kids can have great futures.
Casey's presents Famous People on Famous Pizza.
I'm Janet Hughes, the first and only female demolition derby driver in Harrison County. Before I put the hammer down, I like to fuel up with Casey's homemade to-go pizza. With fresh meats and vegetables all on made-from-scratch dough, it's definitely worth the ride.
Casey's, famous for pizza. Order one today and see what everybody's talking about. Right now, get any large specialty pizza for just $13.99. Not valid with any other offer.
Live local at the Ozark Empire Fair, July 27th through August 4th, presented by the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce. Support your community and spend time relaxing in the air-conditioned E-Plex. Don't miss the all-new cooking stage with demonstrations from local chefs, including Jay Perino of Queen City Deli and Kitchen Kimberly of Southwest Dairy Farmers. See local cooks battle in contests from the healthiest helpings to the most pleasing pie. Meet your local farmers at the new Farmers Market and learn about your food from their garden to your plate. Thursday, August 2nd, nationally syndicated talk show host Jim Bohannon, heard locally on KWTO AM 560, will be broadcasting live from the E-Plex. Support local businesses and live local at the Ozark Empire Fair, July 27th through August 4th, presented by the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce. For more info, go to ozarkempirefair.com. The East Hall and the E-Plex is sponsored by Color 10 and KOZL 27 TV, Meyer Communications, the Springfield News Leader, Ozarks Coca-Cola, and Farmers Market of the Ozarks.
Hot again today with times of clouds and sun. We will see a few showers and a thunderstorm, high of 101. Cloudy for tonight with a thunderstorm in spots, low 75. Sunny and warm for your Saturday. We will see a shower or thunderstorm in spots. Saturday's high 96. A thunderstorm in spots again for your Sunday early on. Then we'll see a mix of clouds and sunshine. Sunday's high 93. Sunny as you head back to work on Monday, high of 90. I'm AccuWeather's Jason Lord.
And the present temperature reading 88 degrees.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter, and he shook his head and said, you need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions.
And you're listening to Home Repairs and Solutions, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Amana dealer. Once again, here's Mary Pearson and her guest for today.
Welcome back, everyone. We hope you're enjoying the show today. We have a great guest with us today. We have Russel Gehrke. He's with E.F. Joplin, and he's the inventor and creator and engineer and genius behind the new storm shelters that's going up in the Joplin area to help the folks who was devastated during the tornado that happened there a little over a year ago. One of the things that I thought was interesting that I know a little bit about, not a lot about, is the way you're going to, the testing that you're doing on these shelters. And like we were talking at the break, sometimes, you know, you worry about a big object hitting the shelter and maybe damaging it. That's not what you're worried about. You're more worried about, like you said, the 2x4 that's going to go through it, or a smaller object that's going to penetrate. So how are you guys going about testing your prototypes here to see how they can withstand those types of, whatever you want to call it, punishment, I guess. Impacts, yeah.
Well, it's like if you have a large object hit, the kinetic energy is spread out over a large area. So the energy goes around. It's not per square inch, it's not very high. It might be 50, 60 pounds, like a vehicle hitting, you know, at 15 miles an hour over the whole surface or landing on your shelter. It looks like it could kill you. Well, yes, it could, but in the shelter, but the energy is spread out amongst many, many inches. Where what happens is when we have a high-speed projectile, like, similar to like a bullet, all that energy is in a very small area, and that's what can be so damaging and deadly to people in a tornado, are those smaller impacts of debris. And that's what we were dealing with in Joplin. 3 minutes of that. So.
Of stuff just getting pummeled over and over and over and over.
Right.
And that, I'm sure that's why the destruction was so severe.
Yeah, it threw me for a loop. It looked like a blender had been over the city. And, my brother was in the Greensburg tornado, so I already have I'm kind of at a personal war with them already. So.
You don't like tornadoes, do you?
No, but ironically, that used to be a common dream I had, a nightmare, being in a tornado, waking up. But since you have Joplin, I've never had that dream since.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Well, tell us.
I'm winning.
There you go. You're about to get over your phobia there, I think, Russell. Tell us a little bit about how you decided to test these, and I'm talking. You're testing like the small, like you're talking about the small objects that.
Right, the projectiles that are so deadly in a tornado. Well, what we needed to do was we originally got a grant from the state of Missouri to help with our technical assistance. And we were going to go down to Texas Tech to their impact lab. Well, they were only going to do 3 impacts. It's like $3,500, which is great, but then I got to thinking, our tornado lasted 3 minutes. I need 60 impacts to do the test I would like to see. So I called the state and asked if we could change the funding, and they were like, absolutely. We found an engineering company in Joplin that could do our third-party validation. And then I'm kind of known for building motorcycles.
I know you are.
I built a motorcycle for Patron Tequila. It actually runs on Patron. John Paul DeJour owns it. And so what I did, I walked into Harley, and I was like, hey, I'm Russ, I do this. And what I want to do, I want to take a Harley, and I want to build an impact lab that's like a baseball pitching machine powered by one of your motorcycles. And less than 5 minutes, they're like, what do you need? So the motorcycle's sitting in my shop right now, and we've been building what I call the kinetic platform, and it's basically what it is. It's a glorified pitching machine with 100-plus horsepower, ready to shoot things at 200-plus miles an hour as fast as we can feed it. But the nice thing about it, we can measure our feet per second, our weight. It gives us very solid engineering data. And another thing we're looking at doing is shooting metal spheres that are even more consistent. 2x4s and all that, some boards will be wet, some boards will be dry, the grain's different.
Some will split, some won't.
Right, so the kinetic energy is all over the place that we're taking on. Some of the board takes on some of the energy. So that's not conducive to good numbers that we want to see. I'm completely confident our polymer can take anything we dish at it, because right now the machine that makes our blocks, when it starts and stops, the plastic purgings out of there will make into like bowling size balls, size project, and the guys that work there will take them home and they'll shoot their deer rifles at them and other things, and the ball will hold the bullets and roll around. And they use it for target practicing, and I've got those. So they give me some of those samples, and I can cut them open. You can see the bullets stuck in it, so it's pretty neat.
So the bullet won't even, you can't even penetrate with a bullet.
It goes into it, but it takes the energy away from it.
So it doesn't go completely through it.
Correct.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
So that's the neat thing about our project, is we've got all the FEMA guidelines for the concrete, and we exceed that thickness almost by 100%. Technically, I guess we're 4-inch, we're up to 10. And then we have this bulletproof vest on the outside. So we got the best of both worlds. We can take on heavy wind loads and duration, and then we can take on these multiple kinetic impacts over and over and over again, and distribute that stress out and about around the shelter. So it is very unique, but it's built on very solid principles, literally.
Yeah, literally. One of the things that I was talking to you about also at the break is I was asking you, how in the world, I mean, you have so many people volunteer to come and do this, and you have a video. If people want to see this, if they would, if you're a Facebook person, or if you have a computer and you want to get on Facebook, it's E.F. Joplin, and he's got some videos and some pictures, some really cool stuff on there that can give you some more information about what he's talking about and how this is working and what's going on. But I'm watching this video that you produced that's showing one of these shelters actually being put together, and I'm thinking, how in the world did you manage to get all these people together, teach them what they need to do, make sure that, you're overseeing this, or how, I mean, to me, that alone is a huge undertaking. And you're explaining to me how you were able to put all that together.
There's a group in Joplin that kind of is over a lot of volunteers, Rebuild Joplin. I can call them and say, hey, we've got a project going on, and they'll literally kind of handpick who they think will fit us well, so they come to the job site. And then it takes us probably about 4 or 5 hours to get everybody up to speed. But the project's very motivating, and we have actually it's a lot of fun when everybody gets together.
I'm sure it would be.
Quick,
Sure. Well, it looks like, when I'm looking at the video here, it looks like everyone's just having a great time.
Yeah, it's hard work, but it doesn't seem like it. Eric could probably talk more about that.
Yeah, now, if you haven't been to Joplin in a while, the volunteer framework is in place. You have church groups coming in from Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Texas, all over. They want work, and now that the debris's been cleaned up, it's hard to employ people that aren't skilled in a craft or home building or anything. So we take them on our project, and all they have to want to do is lift 80-pound bags of concrete or 40-pound buckets of concrete, and they're excited about it. They like mixing the concrete. They like pouring it. They like knowing that they're a part of bringing peace of mind to people, or starting this. I mean, I guess it's a peace of mind campaign that we're doing across Tornado Alley.
We're planning on making our unit more of a kit form where everything's together. All they do is add concrete, and these groups, these churches, they don't know it, but they become our disciples on the project in a roundabout way, because they know how to put them up now. And the idea is, as tornadoes happen in their area, when we have that kit available, we can roll out and be on the ground and start that project there, because I already have an educated workforce that can make this happen. So the volunteers in a roundabout way are part of the project getting outside of Joplin and spreading into other communities. Even if we did 50 shelters a day, with the 21 million people that need shelters, those number of families, it would still take us 200 years.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very much a never-ending type project that's going to be available for many, many years to come. But I'm thinking with these volunteers, the cool thing to me is, and you have a lot of young people there, it looked like, volunteering and doing things like maybe like Eric did, or college-age students or something. And what a great experience for them to learn to do something with their hands and make something like that using their hands and their, it's physical labor.
Yeah, it's cool for high school and college-age students.
I would think so.
You don't get that kind of training in school.
And they learn a lot more than just mixing concrete. I mean, they learn community, they learn teamwork, they learn compassion, and so many different things. So to me, this project is just a win-win all the way around for everybody involved, for everybody who gets a shelter, for anybody who wants to be involved. It's just a wonderful project.
A life is about fulfillment, and a lot of times as adults we get distracted with our fulfillment being our jobs, the next car, the next house. We forget that some of the best fulfillment is helping our neighbors, and this gives them the opportunity to do that.
And I think that's great, because like Eric said, that's something that they don't necessarily teach in school. You can get the math and science and all that type of thing, but then you have to know what to do with it. What are you going to do with that as an adult? What are you going to do with that knowledge, and how are you going to pass that on, and how are you going to help people with what you've learned? So I'm so excited about this project. I have been from the beginning, and I've just wanted so badly to have you come on and talk to people about it.
Thanks, Mary.
It's something that I'm sure for the people here living in Springfield, and me as well, if I didn't know what you were doing in Joplin, it's been a little over a year. It's not really top of the mind awareness anymore. But we need to remember that Joplin is our neighbor. I'm sure many people in the Springfield area probably know people. Maybe they have family members who live in Joplin, or know people who live in Joplin. Some of those people are still having a difficult time.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's been a year, there's still a lot of stuff that they're dealing with up there that things aren't real easy for them right now.
Right.
So to have a project and something like this come in, have volunteers come in, have a project where they can feel safe and secure, where they can have a place to go. We're not out of the storm season. I mean, we're still going to have storms and tornadoes in this part of the country.
They can happen any time of the year.
Absolutely, and even lately, you know, last night we had a little rainstorm come up down at the lake, and all of a sudden the wind kicked in and it busted a tree off, and I'm like, wow, it can happen at any time, and you just never know. So I just think that people in our area, I just want them to know that we have this going on, that we have someone local that is wanting to help the community, that is creative and ingenuitive enough to come up with something that can help everybody. And now, something we haven't talked about, and I'm not sure how that you deal with this, but let's say someone in the Joplin, say they want a shelter.
Mm-hmm.
How do they go about getting on the list, or if they want to pay for one, or what does someone do that would definitely want one of these shelters?
Well, we had a website that people would go to, and but it is so cluttered and inundated. It's a hard tool for us to use now. I don't actually even look at it anymore. But the people on the list are still there.
Mm-hmm.
We just start at the top and work down. With EF Joplin and getting a third party that can take over the donations, they'll be able to help with that, because that's what does eat up so much of my time, what I call the politic. And she gets one, you know, I spend half of my time just dealing with those issues.
Sure.
And I need to stop, because we need to get more shelters on the ground. But the best way to follow us as the project is evolving and maturing is just EF Joplin on Facebook, and we'll get another web page up. Project JOMO is what we started out as, but what we're seeing is we need to get away from Joplin, and Project JOMO that name wasn't helping us get outside of Joplin. So EF Joplin, that name change is crucial for us to get to the next level. And Facebook is a great tool because it's immediate. It doesn't cost us money, and you know, it just allows me to put another block on the ground at somebody's house. You know, 3 homes being built in Joplin. You know, there's a lot of these charities are coming in and building these homes, but the price of 3 of those homes would do enough shelters for basically everybody on my list right now. And instead of 3 families getting peace of mind, we could do over 100 families.
Sure.
And that's probably the message we need to get out, is to some of these charities that, hey, if you really want to have an impact, look what we're doing. And we can change lives immediately. And these kids are messed up. Some of them, I mean, it's heartbreaking.
I'm sure that's true. And another project that I'm sure people remember is that Extreme Home Makeover came to Joplin.
Oh, yeah.
And you were involved with that project as well.
Yeah. They wanted to test the shelters they were putting in their 7 homes they were building in 7 days, and they brought in a pumpkin shooting cannon that would shoot a pumpkin almost a mile, and they were going to go at it full pressure. And I was friends with one of the directors there, and I was like, whoa, you don't want to do that. That's 600 feet per second. They're engineered for 148 feet per second, a 15-pound projectile. So I was just there to help them with the math, and then before I knew it, they dragged me in on camera to run the machine and help test their shelters. But yeah, that was a fun experience.
So the 7 homes that Extreme Home Makeover put in, do they have your shelters in
them?
They
use a shelter made by DuPont that's got Kevlar in it.
Okay.
And yeah, but and it's better than a closet, bathroom, or a hallway for sure.
Oh, sure. Because you weren't at that point in time. You weren't actually up and running at that time.
No,
you didn't have everything in place to actually build.
Right, we were making blocks, but there was no way I had enough at the time to do the 7 homes.
Yeah, sure. Because you were too early on in your project at that point.
Yeah, it was just maybe 5 or 6 months old at that point.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that it was all still kind of in its infant stage. And,
right.
And so if let's say someone wants to get involved, maybe they want to help with this project, they want to either volunteer on the ground, maybe they want to donate to the foundation, maybe they just want to know they want to help, but maybe they're not sure how to help. What's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Through our EF Joplin Facebook page is probably best, and they can message me on there, and then I can add them through another channel. I don't have a foundation right now. We could take a donation through, but if they want to help, there's ways they can. And there's other, like the Chamber of Commerce there, their foundation's very progressive, and they could work directly through them.
And that's in Joplin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and great group of people there. And Another thing with our impact lab, it's very high profile. We've got a lot of press waiting. They, for some reason, I don't know why they want to come film a Harley Davidson destroying cars and bathtubs.
I think because it's going to be cool. I think that's going to be awesome.
It is. But so we've got this huge media thing getting ready to happen here in a few short months. And millions and millions of people will be very aware of what we're doing pretty soon.
Sure.
And this is a great opportunity if someone is in the sports car industry, auto parts, whatever, if they want to have their name seen by millions of people, you know, they can go ahead and slap it on a NASCAR and maybe get noticed, or they could hop on us with our EF Joplin test and be part of, we call the machine the Shredder.
The Shredder, that's a cool name. That's a cool name. So are you going to be actually sitting on the Harley giving it the gas, or how's that going to work?
We'll see. I think everybody will be fighting over who gets to give it the gas.
I bet you'll have a line of volunteers for that as well.
Well, and too, people can pay money to shoot boards at shelters too. We use it to help raise funds for the project. So.
Sure. Oh, that would be fun. That would be really fun. Well, it looks like we have about 3 minutes left in the show. I hope you guys out there listening to us, I hope you enjoyed the show today and got some great information of what's going on right here in our own community. Like I said, that's something that I just felt that maybe a lot of people weren't aware of. If you don't live in the Joplin area, if you're not part of this, then maybe you're not aware of what's happening right here in our area. So I want to thank you so much for coming in, Russell.
Thanks
You're
for having us.
always a joy to talk to. I love visiting with you and for bringing Eric as well.
Thanks.
And I'm looking forward to this motorcycle demolition thing you got going on.
The Shredder.
The Shredder. Now, do you have a specific date when that's going to go on? Is it going to be on the local news as well? How are what's happening here?
You just have to wait and see. We've got some tricks up our sleeves. You know, Extreme Makeover got canceled.
Yes.
And it's been in the works, something being done with the old film crew and everybody coming back together.
Oh, okay.
And I'll give you a hint. The show's called Good Grief.
Good grief. Okay, well, we'll have to look for that and see what that's going to be about.
Yeah.
But if I would just encourage everyone, if you have access to a computer, and especially if you like social media and you have a Facebook, if you're a Facebook person, please go on to EF Joplin, like their page, and you can follow the progress of what's going on, and it's helping our friends and neighbors up there in the Joplin area. And that, you know, at some point, I'm thinking, you know, over a period of time, this is going to be available to even us maybe here in Springfield.
Very soon.
Probably very soon. I'm assuming that you're going to want to take care of the local area and then branch out from there. And so people that maybe don't have shelters now, one of the things we like to do on the show is be preemptive. We like to let listeners, and just like our company Spring Mountain Air, we like to keep our clients, we like to be proactive, let them know what's coming down the road so that they can prepare for things maybe in the future, know of new products and new services that are going to be available to them. So that's one of the reasons we brought Russell on today, and hopefully soon that we'll have this technology available here in Springfield to help us out right here, because you know we still have ugly storms. We do have tornadoes hit here in our area as well.
Yep.
So I think it's a great project. Thanks for being with us again.
Thank you, Mary.
And I appreciate all the listeners today. Thanks for being part of Home Repairs and Solutions. You can hear us here every Friday from 10 to 11. And hopefully Mark will be on next Friday. So we'll see you all on the radio.
Well, Bob just leaned over the counter, and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."